The laughter was the first thing I noticed. It was high-pitched, cruel, and unmistakably hers. I stood there, my breath fogging the icy air as snow piled against my boots. My hands were red, raw from pounding on the locked door, and my voice hoarse from yelling. The wind howled like a wolf at my back, but it was nothing compared to the cold settling in my chest. Through the frost-bitten windowpane, I saw them, my wife and her family, their faces twisted in malicious glee. Her voice cut through the storm like a blade. "Freeze to death, you worthless idiot!" They laughed harder, the sound muffled but still slicing into me. My eyes met hers. I searched for even a flicker of humanity, of the woman I once loved, but found only ice. Slowly, I lowered my fists and let the silence swallow my screams. I didn't say a word. Not then. Not to her. Instead, I turned and walked away into the blizzard. 3 days later, my inbox was flooded with 47 desperate messages. We used to be happy, or so I thought. Sarah had been my world. Her smile had been warm, her touch soft. I trusted her, loved her, provided for her. Even when her family moved in temporarily last year, I didn't question it. I told myself it was temporary, that families stuck together. But the cracks were always there, weren't they? Her father's smug glances. Her mother's cutting remarks about how I wasn't good enough for their daughter. Her brother's freeloading ways. And Sarah? She never defended me. Never stood by my side. I told myself it was just stress, that she was caught in the middle. I ignored the signs, the whispered conversations, the bank withdrawals I hadn't made, the way she'd stopped looking at me like I mattered. I ignored it all until that night. Until the snowstorm. The moment I stepped back into the storm, something inside me shattered. Not like glass, fragile and sudden. No, this was slow, deliberate, like ice cracking under pressure. I walked until my legs ached, the cold biting into my skin, my teeth chattering. My mind raced, cycling through anger, humiliation, and disbelief. But then, something shifted. The anger didn't burn anymore, it froze. My breath steadied, and my steps grew purposeful. I didn't need to scream or pound on that door anymore. They thought they'd won. They thought I'd break. They had no idea who I really was. I spent the next 3 days preparing. Planning. I stayed with an old friend who asked no questions, offered me warmth and space to think. First, I secured the evidence. The bank accounts told a damning story. Thousands drained over months, funneled into Sarah's personal account, then out to her parents. They'd been bleeding me dry. Next, I reached out to my lawyer. I'd kept our finances separate, despite Sarah's insistence when we got married. For emergencies, I'd said back then. It turned out to be my salvation. I froze every joint account, canceled the credit card she used, and prepared divorce papers. But I didn't stop there. I wanted them to feel it. To squirm. Through mutual acquaintances, I leaked just enough information to stir the pot. Sarah's family was hiding secrets, her father's shady business deals, her brother's gambling debt. I fed those whispers carefully, ensuring they reached the right ears. I tracked down their landlord. They hadn't paid rent in months. Turns out, they'd been counting on me to cover it. I made sure the eviction notice came promptly. And then, I waited. On the 4th day, I returned to the house. Not as the desperate man locked out in the cold, but as the executioner delivering their reckoning. I timed it perfectly. They were still inside, laughing and drinking as if they hadn't left me for dead. The eviction notice was already taped to the door. My lawyer had ensured the utilities were shut off that morning. I knocked once. Calm. Measured. Sarah opened the door, her smile faltering when she saw me. "You," she hissed, eyes narrowing. "What are you doing here?" I stepped inside without asking. The air was stifling, the stench of stale beer and cigarettes thick. Her family gathered around the living room, their expressions shifting from smug to uneasy. "Get out of my house," Sarah snapped, but there was a tremor in her voice now. I smiled, cold and sharp. "Your house? That's funny. Because as of this morning, it's not yours anymore." I tossed a folder onto the coffee table. Bank statements. Eviction notice. Divorce papers. Her father snatched the papers, his face reddening as he read. "What the hell is this?" "It's everything you deserve," I said. My voice was calm, but my words hit like a hammer. No more free ride. No more handouts. No more me. Sarah's face crumpled. "You can't do this." She screamed. "You can't just walk away." I stepped closer, my voice dropping to a whisper. "I already did. The night you locked me out, I was done. This is just the clean-up." Her mother wailed, her brother cursed, but I didn't care. I turned and walked out, their shouts fading behind me. 2 weeks later, I got an email from Sarah. A desperate, rambling plea for forgiveness. She was living in a motel now, her family scattered. The house was gone, the debts piling up. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded it to my lawyer. As I hit send, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. They thought they'd leave me out in the cold. Turns out, I thrive there.